I was gonna do a do-it-yourself video for my backsplash because I'm about to do my own backsplash. I took off all the light covers. I got my tape and all my tiles here that I'm about to take out. I washed my wall with my simple green, just washed it with the simple green. It leans a little bit, but I don't know if that's just my level. It's pretty level, and I tried all of it, so. And I'm using simple matte. It's supposed to be pretty easy, but I only found one do-it-yourself, and they barely did behind the stove, and I'm doing all of this area. This for after I grout the sponge that I will get damp and when I grout. Let's get started. So let me move these. I'm just gonna measure to see how much I am going to cut of the simple matte. Also shows what we need, and I already got my grout float. I got the spacers, and I think those are 1/8 spacers for the tiles that I'm using. I have my scissors, and I actually have a utility cutter, and I got the glass nippers, and they're only 12 bucks, lifetime guarantee. I'm gonna use just this. It's my favorite caulk because it just comes straight from the tube, and even though it's gonna be white instead of the gray grout that I'm gonna be using, it'll match where I painted. Then I'm going to do these as my spacers, and I just got the lightest, cheapest float, whatever this thing's called, the grout float, and let's get started. What I'm doing is just taping everything off, even on the tops of my, so that it doesn't hit the tops of my cabinets when I go to do the grouting in a few hours, because they say that with the stuff that I'm going to be using dries in a couple of hours. So okay, let's see, and this is my first do-it-yourself video, and I'm just gonna kind of edit that thing together when I'm done here. I'm actually gonna replace this hood, so I'm just barely gonna tape this off back here, of course, against here. Do the same thing I did on this side, just kind of tape. And I hope I'll be careful with my grout. See here, there's kind of, a little lip. It looks awful up here, but there's like a little bit. It's probably a centimeter, if that. But I'm gonna measure at that, kind of lowering there. And that gives us exactly 17 inches. So I'm gonna think about 17 inches. So I'll cut, I would say, a 1/2 inch, because I'm gonna give a centimeter on each side so that we can caulk it at the bottom and at the top. We wanna leave a little bit of a gap. So I am going to do it that way, which I'll show you in a minute, and get it on the wall. We're gonna use the grout float to just flatten that out. And I did not remove these. You can remove them all the way out of the wall, but I'm gonna get as flush to this as I can in my cuts. What I'm using here, oh gosh, I already took that out of the packaging, but I'm gonna take each one of these out of the packaging. We got these years ago, so I'm just now doing this. They discontinued this tile, and we bought more, and they're not exact, so I'm gonna have to mismatch and see what we can do here. I'm gonna show you what I'm doing. I'm just cutting these out, and I'm gonna set them aside, and cutting them out of the packaging here. Some of them are harder to get out than others, and I'm gonna keep these cardboard backs when I make my cuts with my utility knife where I need to, like where I need to cut around the light things. I'll just cut them with the utility knife right on top of the packaging cardboard. So, reality of what real people do, like measure a little too short. I think I am gonna do 17 inches because I haven't stuck this all the way to the wall, but this is the what whatever that stuff's called. Anyway, I had to cut around, and I haven't pulled off the sticky on the back yet. And I'm just gonna fill in the gaps with what I have cut off, and hopefully that'll work. The trowel float and push it on here really good, because you don't want any bubbles or anything like that. And this is before I even pull that back off. I want to get it on the wall really, really nice. And obviously get it around that thingy. Okay, let's see. It's supposed to be easy. It isn't. Obviously, you can see I cannot peel this off very well. You're supposed to be able to just peel this backside off, and I hope it didn't stay in my garage too long. And getting irritated. So I grabbed needle nose pliers to get, because I made these little ones happen. I don't know if you can see what I'm doing here, but this is not coming off easily. And I used the float. Yeah, now I'm just pulling the whole frickin' thing off. Okay, this sucks. So stupid. All right, and that looks ugly. Hopefully the grout, I think the grout will hide whatever the heck I got on there. That, but the only solace I can take in what I'm doing right now, because I still have to glass cut this, so I should have, before I stuck the sticky stuff up, I should have made my cuts. But I think I'm still gonna be able to do it in spite of my mistake. Okay. Probably not ideal, but I also didn't anticipate, because I'm doing vertical so that I get more of the wall this way. Anyway, I'm gonna have to cut the top. So I'll measure that, and I'm sticking around in the excess spots and just measuring and cutting. You, and you know, pull it off of there, and then just stick. And then, oh shit, see where, I gotta put more. Oh my gosh. I know that this is just gonna be lovely. Just saying, even though I don't do things exactly like everyone else, it's going to work out. And I'm just gonna make my measurements with the sticky stuff a little more accurate, because I am just horrible at measuring. Quickly, I just wanna show you that when I stuck that up there, I actually, and you can even use your level to push the tiles where you want them, which is nice, because you can, even with this, and of course, even if you mix your grout, it's pliable enough that you can, you can move these tiles to straighten them out, whatever you want to do. If you want them more perfect, I don't mind. I kind of like it, make it look like I did the individual tile, which would mean it's not perfect. It's not going to be perfectly spaced, but you can move them around and do what you want with them. My floating trowel to, push everything in, and then I'm going to measure. I'm going to measure how much I need to cut that tile, and it looks perfect because we're going to leave a little bit of a gap up at the top, just like we're leaving a little bit of a gap at the bottom, and a little bit of a gap to the sides. I always eyeball everything, but I know you want precise measurements. So I'm thinking 5.5 inches is gonna be perfect. So let's see, and I'm gonna cut it right on this cardboard. So 5.5 means I may have to, no, it might be perfect, and I don't have to use my glass nippers, which I used right there. I nipped the glass, as you can see, and it's very easy. These are very easy to nip the glass. To just show you that I nipped just the tips of these so that it fits because of that lip there. I bought the spacers, but I'm not even using them because this stuff's so easy, you can eyeball it. So I think I'm just gonna eyeball it, and again, move them. If they look too close together, you can move them, and the grout will fill in anything that, you know, looks like a flaw, or the glass. When I cut the glass, they don't break perfectly. So, or cut perfectly. So at the end of the day, I think we're looking pretty good. Taken hours, but I already love it. I think it's beautiful. And they discontinued this one. And I know it's probably old, but I love it because I'm very colorful. I love to paint. This is my painting. And I think it's gonna go with my stuff. I'm excited. This part's gonna be a lot more fun. I kind of filled in the gap here again because I didn't get the perfectly even sheets because I had to cut around the light socket. That said, I cut this and just stuck it up there, and this is gonna be fairly easy all the way until we get to this sucker. And then this is gonna be my challenge. But we should be fine. Once we get there, I will show you how. You know, I'm not even using the tile spacers. So these were worthless. I'm eyeballing everything. So now I stuck this vertical and I did this sideways. And I had a gap because I didn't measure it correctly, but none of that is gonna matter. And I'm seriously gonna eyeball this and make it look gorgeous. So for all you do-it-yourselfers, they make the stuff look easy, and it's not. I'll show you, I'm just gonna use my floating trowel again to make sure it's stuck on there really good. And then I'm going to, I have these needle nose pliers that help me. Oh, it's kind of hard to hold the camera and do this at the same time. But I'm just taking the needle nose pliers, and I'm just gonna do the center one first. But I mean, that is gonna stick my tiles right up there. Uh-oh. There we go. But I'll go back. That's stuck there really good, and I got, you can't really tell, but I worked at it to get the air bubbles out. And again, I'm just your average dummy. So you have to forgive me, but I'm just showing you what it really looks like without the bells and the whistles. And then now this will be sticky and ready to put my, anyway, I see why they edit, because everything takes forever. So I don't want to bore you to death, but anyway, I'm going to pull this off too. This is embarrassing, but I'm just showing you how I eyeball this to get it up here, because those little spacers I don't want to use them. And again, you can kind of work with this, and I already have my sticky stuff up here, and I leave that little gap at the bottom, and since they're not perfect, I take my trowel and I move the ones that are a little bit crooked. You can just kind of move them to where you want them to be, which is nice. And then again, the grout will fill in and fix anything that doesn't quite look right. All right, so I think we are getting there, and I like it not to be exactly perfect, but I can take my level, and it is pretty exact. And what you can do with your level, I hope I'm in the camera, you can push it down onto the mat to make it level. So you can kind of use your level as you stick this up here, which which is nice. So that's perfectly level. Okay.